This is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with Nick Abbot.
You're joking. Well, let's get back to it.
Texts and tweets from last night. Sam texts, Nick, we're being ripped off by energy companies and big corporations. We have the worst government in history. Our pensions are worthless. Not that that matters, as we'll never see it anyway, with them rising the pension age. Never mind, though, we mustn't grumble. Can we get the French over to do a bit of protesting on our... Almost got to the end of it. Oh, well. It can only get better from here. Yes?
No.
Stu at Ipswich says, Keir Stammer, S-T-A-M-M-A, once defended a man called Arthur Pendragon so that he could have the right to dance naked around Stonehenge and carry a sword. I may have some of the... He says, I may have some of the facts wrong, but I do have some memory of this. I am surprised the Conservatives haven't used this against him yet. Oh, they'll get around to it. Don't you worry about that. Sounds like a hippie to me. This text says, a classic example of my father, 85, who said, I can't wait till Labour get in and ruin the country. I love him so much, but I had to laugh in his face. Laughing in his face. Laura says, I am 67 years old and I've never voted Conservative. Not all old people vote Conservative. I have always voted Labour or Green, says Laura, whose memory is failing her. Hey, Laura, wake up. Who'd you vote for again? Lyle in Bromborough, wherever that is, emails the following. The funny thing about the current Tory party is that the only way they are ideologically... The funny thing about the current Tory party is that the only way they are ideologically incapable of doing the things that will make them electable. Does that make sense?
No.
No. Shall I have another go at it?
No.
The funny thing about the current Tory party is the only way maybe only is throwing me off. Take only out and see if it makes sense. The funny thing about the current Tory party is the way they are ideologically incapable of doing the things that will make them electable.
Affirmative.
That makes sense. Thank goodness for me. Otherwise this show would be in the toilet. He says they need to focus on restoring public services and supporting local councils and making positive differences in people's lives. Their low-tax, small-state programme does the opposite, to the point that the army is inadequate to defend the country. There's no space in the prisons, and the schools are worried about dropping roofs on children's heads. I wonder how the market will fix that. Exactly, yes. It is weird. I mean, the obvious way in which they could inveigle themselves in our good books is actually to make our lives better. Have you thought about that, titchy suit size? I mean, it does sound like a revolutionary concept, but, give it a while. You might come round to that level of thinking. Make our lives better. Instead of hoping that we'll be obsessed with people arriving on the boats.
The country's priority is to stop the boats. And at the same time, I think people know that I'm relentlessly focusing on stopping the boats.
Yeah, sure. When he's relentlessly focusing on stopping the boats, when he isn't relentlessly focusing on the plan.
We have a plan, or you just go back to square one.
Can we go back to square one? That would be super. Can we do that straight away? Thanks. Kevin from Chislehurst said they should ban anyone from voting who is not likely to be alive for the 5 years of Parliament. That's a good idea. So by my calculation, says Kevin, that is anyone over 70 years old. Apply the same rule to the future Brexit vote and we'll get back in, says Kevin. That's good thinking there, Kevin. Sam in Cambridge says, Nick, the Conservatives are definitely out of touch in their understanding of the misery that the public are experiencing. The problem is, and I think why they are not polling much higher, is because we don't believe that the pledges and promises Labour are professing they will deliver. I suspect we will regret putting them in government. Well, I suspect I regretted starting that sentence, which was about as long as your average book, and there wasn't a single solitary full stop in any of it. One comma and a semicolon is all I got. I'm exhausted. The Conservatives are definitely... Oh, no, I was just going to read that again. Put that back. The Conservatives are definitely out of touch in their understanding of the misery that the public are experiencing. Well, here we go, back again. Back around. To, have you considered making our lives better? Or is that just totally out of the question? You just want to make us angry at an identifiable small minority of people and see how that works. How about taking some of that money that you take off our wages before we get our cash and spending it on making our lives better? Has that occurred to any of you?
No.
Not so far, no. I'll write him a letter and I'll pop it in the post. Bob says, I'm old enough to remember when Eton Mess only described a dessert. Yeah. This says, take it from a chef. Air fryers are just small fan of it. Oh, this is the potato thing again. And you know me, I'm not one to complain.
Whinging and whining and moaning.
But it is impossible to make excellent chips or roasties in an air fryer. Don't message me and tell me that you have the perfect recipe, because no such thing exists. Believe me, I've tried. So the only method that actually works is to start it off in a real oven and then crisp it in the fryer. Ooh, so yummy. Anyway, it says, take it from a chef. Air fryers are just small fan ovens. You've fallen for some very clever marketing, and that's about it. You might as well buy something more useful, such as a storage container for half an avocado or a silicon egg poaching cup. Well, I'm thinking of being offended. Cancel my order. I'm going to a different restaurant. Chef my eye. Babs in Lancashire says, Nick, I've just heard on Newsnight from commentators that it's looking like a January 2025 election as Titchy wants another Christmas in Downing Street.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. We've got to wait through Jesus' birthday again? I can't stand it. When will this pain ever end? A January election. Who ever heard of such a thing? Well, the weather's going to be absolutely blooming awful, which means that the only people who will absolutely, totally and definitely go out to vote are old people who will crawl across broken glass in their bare feet. You don't crawl in bare feet. No, it doesn't make any difference one way or the other if you're crawling, whether you've got shoes on or not. I understand that, but I'm just trying to make it as, as awful a picture as possible. In their PJs, crawling over, or absolutely butt naked.
Disgusting.
Yeah, they're the only ones that were going to absolutely, definitely and totally go to the polling station on the day, which means that the Conservative Party will win again. Thank goodness for that. Then we'll really see that plan wheel into operation. I can't wait. And this text says, did you see... have I read the end of this one? No. Evening, Nick, this one says. You appear to be obsessed with which school our politicians attended. No, I'm not. What makes you say that? He says the vast majority attended normal schools. How do you know? The bigger problem for me is the fact that we probably have the worst group of politicians for many years, whichever side of the House of Commons they sit. Well, we don't know that, because the other side haven't had a look in. He says things are now so bad that we will probably have a Labour government after the next election because they are not the Tories, and not because their plan for the future of the economy, of the country rather, is decent. That shows the political depths to which we have sunk. Take care. Well, that sounds like a threat. What do you mean, take care? No, it doesn't show that anything like the political depths to which we have sunk. It just shows that you haven't taken the time out to find out what it is that Labour plan to do when they win the next election. Take care. I will not. And finally, for the moment, this text says, did you see Marjorie Taylor Greene, the soulless and intellectually challenged Trump dingling extraordinaire, when she expressed her ire with David Cameron's opinions as being rude, and then said he could kiss my ass, she said. And we thought Trumpton was the bestest at statesmanship. You're the absolute bestest at statesmanship, Donny.
I can be more presidential than anybody.
More presidential than anybody. Hey, did you see he was very, very upset? It was very upsetting on multiple levels. Just as Donald Trump, Donito Mussolini, was being handed a $355 million fine in a New York courtroom at the culmination of a civil fraud case, the famously thin-skinned former president was posting to his Truth Social social media site about pictures that appeared to make him look fat. The fake news used artificial intelligence to create the picture. They are despicable people. Everybody knows that, he said. He said, believe me.
Believe me. Believe me. Believe me. Believe me. Believe me. Believe me. Believe me. Okay.
Okay. He says, the other pictures are me hitting golf balls today to show the difference. Sadly, in our country, fake news is all you get. And I looked at they're worth looking at because it's quite amusing. And I looked at those pictures of Donito Trumpolini, the before and after, the picture that had raised his ire. and the pictures that he posted to prove that he is actually a svelte ex-president.
I'm president. Can you believe it?
And and guess what? Yeah, that's right. Looked the blooming same to me.
Oh, shut up!
Looked the same to me. The posting, which showed one photo of Trump with a pot belly, was accompanied by a further 3 photos showing an ever so slightly less fat Donald Trump. Further investigation reveals, however, that the image is not artificial intelligence at all, but a photoshopped image of a 57-year-old golfing walrus and long-time Trump supporter John Daly. John Dingaling. The former president spent almost all of the time that he was the president on the golf course, despite saying that he wouldn't have any time for golf before he was elected. He's a proper person.
Everything that I've done is 100% proper. That's what I do, is I do things proper.
He's a very honest person.
I'm a person that wants to tell the truth. I'm an honest person.
He lied. And it's proof positive, by the way, that golf is not a sport. Not a sport. It's a pastime. If you can play it at the top level, which Trumple Thinskin says he does, and still need 2 seats on an airline, then it's not a sport.
Oh, shut up!
John Daly, the ex-golfing champion, I've never heard of him. But anyway, I don't really do golf. He is even heftier than Fat Donny. Can you believe that? And he's a 2-time major golf champion. So point proved there, I think. Not a sport, a pastime. It's just the way to pass the time between buckets of food. Isn't that right, Donny? Donald Trump is an exercise fanatic.
Exercising is fun and it's nice.
How do you know? Your husband could do with losing a few £100, Melania.
I don't care.
She's actually not that bothered. Separate bedrooms in separate houses in different states.
This is LBC with Nick Abbott. Call 0345 6060 973. Tweet at LBC. Text 84850.
Oh, hello there. Very nice to meet you.
Yes, let's meet Paul in Maidenhead. Hello, Paul.
Hey, Nick.
Yes, Paul.
Well, you know I love your show and I'll be listening to the end, but I've got the hump with you.
Oh, no. What have I done now?
Because golf is a sport.
No.
No.
Not a sport.
It
no,
is.
it's a pastime.
Tennis. Have you ever played golf?
Yes.
Have you? I play off about 12 to 14 on stroke play.
I have no idea what you're talking about right now.
Well, that's over par. So it's why have you got the hump with golf?
I haven't got the hump with golf. It's just, let's be real, it's not a sport. You waddle around from your...
Oh, you got to hit that ball. You got to drive. You got 3 woods. You got pitches, 8 irons.
Rubbish.
And then you got to go on the green.
You go on your little go-kart and you park it you park it on the green and then waddle over to your ball and then give it a tap and then you waddle back to your little go-kart and then you blast off to the next hole. That's not sport.
No, I carry mine,
right.
And it's quite difficult, especially when it's wet.
Believe me, I know it is difficult. Yeah, I'll give you that. Yes, but doing jigsaw puzzles are difficult, but it doesn't make them a sport.
Yeah, But what about tennis then?
Well,
What about
tennis, of
snooker?
course, tennis is... Snooker's not a sport. Tennis is a sport. Of course it is. Look at the people that play it. They're 7-foot robots, for crying out loud.
So what's the
difference?
What's the difference between tennis and snooker?
Well, you don't run in snooker, do you? Unless you're trying to get to the loo and back before, before the next the match or whatever they call it. I've got no idea.
I was a great tennis player. I played at Bisham Abbey and everything. I was like really good at it. I love tennis. But
Bisham Abbey, that's in Berkshire. That's where the England
Marlow
team, they practice, the England football team practice. Yeah, I used to play golf there.
Well, there's a little 9-hole there, isn't there?
It's a very, very pleasant course, particularly for someone who can't play golf like me.
Yeah, it's small. So why you've got the hump with golf?
Again, I don't have the hump with it any more than I have the hump with playing poker. But that's not a sport either.
No, I don't. Oh yeah, I won 12 grand at poker years ago. I was amazed at that.
Right.
But,
the very next day, you
gamble.
You gave it away.
We don't gamble anymore. But stop having the hump with golf, Nick, because I'm going to listen to the show
right to the very end, just to check on me. All right. Okay.
Yeah.
I see you.
Thanks, Nick.
I feel you breathing on my shoulder. Checking my work now. Can you believe that? I had to see him after class. Junior texts, "Hi Nick, is there any chance that you could start a campaign to get Royal Mail back into public ownership? From June, postal workers will be starting work an hour and a half later."
What?
Really? "Expect your post at midnight." "Blame the union," says Junior. No, I do not blame the union. I mean, there's a lot of people at the Royal Mail and the Post Office. I mean, I know that they're separate, but, they used to be as one. There's a lot of people in both organisations that you could blame about a lot of things, but I don't think the union is one of them. This text says, "My mum said that talk about makeup and handbags, if you can't have a conversation with some people, always works for me." This is in relation to me and Carol McGiffin. We have a podcast, you know.
Oh, right, yeah.
And we don't agree on anything at all, ever. And we have, in the past, strayed too far down the road of contentiousness. So, my genius idea was that we should have some safe space words that we yell out at a moment of our choosing, which means that we will avoid arguments, but we have to start talking about a prearranged topic. And I think that's what that's about. My mum said that if you talk about makeup and handbags, then it always works if you can't have a conversation with the people that you're with. Well, I'll suggest to Carol that we talk about makeup. I wouldn't know quite what to say about it. I mean, I don't have a very extensive knowledge about makeup, other than thinking that Carol McGiffin would look fantastic with a lot of makeup on.
What?
Yeah, just saying it. This text says, 8 out of 10 musicians have said that Brexit has affected their income. That's correct. Well, I don't know if that's correct or not, but it sounds about right. In fact, it sounds a bit low. Shall we say 10 out of 10 musicians have said that Brexit has affected their income? Did you see that bright spark Iron Maiden's leave voting Bruce Dickinson moaning about Brexit being a bit too Brexity after he proudly explained originally live to Twitter that it would just open up new opportunities and it was, quotes, just that simple, says this text. Well, something is definitely simple, Bruce, but it ain't Brexit, says that texter. Yeah. All of the people that are complaining that, oh, well, this is not the Brexit I voted for. Well, it's the Brexit that we voted against. We told you and told you and told you. And then you wake up surprised that all of the things that we warned you about have come true. Yeah, Bruce Dickinson. And, by the way, Roger Daltrey. Who are you? Who? Hate that record. Worst Who record ever.
Correct.
Really. Terrible. Stu in Shropshire says, how much money did Lord Cam make when lobbying for Greensill? I'm sure that one of his manifesto pledges was to crack down on lobbying. He did say that. There was an outburst when David Cameron was our Prime Minister. He used to be the Prime Minister of this country. Can you believe that?
No.
Yeah. When he was Prime Minister, he said that out loud. It was almost as though he said it by accident. He said the next scandal, this was after the expenses scandal, he said the next scandal will be about lobbying. And there was a sharp intake of breath all round when we thought that he might be about to spill the beans. And then, as though he had accidentally said it, he didn't utter a single solitary word about it since. Not a peep. Lobbying. Up to his eyeballs in it, I bet.
I think this is nonsense.
Yeah, sure you do. There's a shed somewhere in Cheshire that's missing a tool, Dave. Just saying. And Christopher says, hello, Nick. Intuitively, I like the idea of proportional representation. One snag, though, is that, for example, in the 1980s in the UK, we would have had BNP having a voice if we had PR. Yeah, but it would have been a pretty small one. And not long in lasting. That was not really the way that I thought that sentence was going to end, but there we are. We're just going to have to live with it. Up with it, we are going to have to put...
Voters have had enough.
Yes, I can't believe I'm about to say this, but I agree with Smug. Voters... He also said this in the same speech.
Pompous politicians have been running this country for too long.
Voters have had enough of pompous politicians who have been running this country for too long. Jacob Rees-Mogg said that. How unself-aware would you have to be on a scale of 1 to 6 million to say that out loud? That this country is tired of pompous politicians. Jacob Rees-Mogg said that. From 1 to 6 million. Approximately how much?
And 1.
Higher.
2.
Higher than that.
6 million.
6 million, yeah. Between 1 and 6 million, it would have to be 6 million, yeah. I've forgotten what the question was. 6 million what? Never mind, we'll never know. We can't pause now to pick up where we were because, we're on a conveyor belt here and we're charging forwards. We're just going to have to leave it there and chalk it up as a failure. Fran from Canterbury says, I like the idea of making voting mandatory because that would stop the powers that be introducing exclusionary voter ID. They'd have to make sure that everyone has a means to vote, says Fran. Well, that's true-ish, yeah, but they aren't going to do it because it's in their best interests to keep as many people as possible home because they know that their rabid, fanatical fans are going to brave any weather to go out because their fans are mostly 65 years old and over, mostly. And people under the age of 65 are increasingly less likely to be bothered to vote the younger they get. And the younger they get, they're more likely to be not remotely interested in voting Conservative. Feeling somewhat bilious just at the very idea, I bet. The kids. It always does surprise me when you see a picture of a young Conservatives group. I always think, what are you doing? Shouldn't you be out, doing the disco dancing? What are you doing with making a young Conservatives group? I mean, no offence, but that's just weird, isn't it? Like an old Conservatives group, yes, of course, enjoy. But a young Conservatives group, that's just a bit, I don't know, it's a bit odd, isn't it? Or is that an offensive thing for me to say? Probably is, isn't it? Also, probably not the last offensive thing I'll say on this programme. Isn't it exciting?
This is LBC with Nick Abbott. Call 0345 6060 973. Tweet at LBC. Text 84850.
Listen to him. He knows everything.
Let's have a call in, let me see now. Cheshire, John.
John Ware.
John where?
John Sandbach.
Yes, John.
Oh, hi. The people who voted red Brexit didn't really have a clue what they were voting for. They just went for the gimmick, didn't they?
They just were persuaded that their lives would be better by a bunch of oily charlatans. Yeah.
They weren't sure they were going to begin with.
They were duped.
They were duped, and you know what? My fear is they're now voting for reform.
Yeah, well, never mind. I mean, the voting for reform is going to make absolutely certain that the Tories do not get a sniff of power for a considerable period of time.
They'll all become this conservative family. Which is a joke within itself.
They're like a mafia family.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Definitely like the mafia family because he got the money to do it. Yeah. It's what a joke. Politics is in this country.
Well, you got a good point there, John. Thanks for that. What a joke politics is in this country. Any thoughts, Bodge?
I can't comment on that.
Can't comment on that. Yeah, it's all your fault, you great big greedy nincompoop.
The great big greedy nincompoop.
Yeah, I just said that. Thanks a lot, John. Julie from Plymouth says, Nick, 14 years of Tory ruin. I would relish going back to square one with Labour. I'd be happy again. Bring it on. LOL. Choose happy people, says Julie. What does that mean? Choose happy people. It sounds like one of those Catherine Hamlet T-shirts from the 1980s. Choose life. Choose love. Steve in Potter's Bar says, Hi, Nick. The renaming of the London Overground lines, it's now been decided one of the lines is going to be renamed to the Sweet Carol line. That all seemed a bit weird, didn't it? I mean, I've got no idea what his priorities are.
Under my leadership, the government's priorities are your priorities.
Yeah, but Sadiq Khan, you would think that they have more pressing priorities than renaming overground lines. But, OK then. I can't say that I'm really that bothered one way or the other. Just as long as they show up is all. Let's haven't. Lauren.
Hello, Nick.
Lauren.
Hello, mate. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing super. Thanks for asking.
Wicked. I just wanted to mix up Jacob Rees-Mogg's latest audacity, because he's the most pompous man I've ever seen, and the Young Conservatives, because if you've seen the clip of Jacob Rees-Mogg when he was a Young Conservative with his bloody monocle.
His monocle? No, I didn't.
Yeah.
No, I haven't seen him with a monocle. I saw that clip from a program that wasn't necessarily about him, but he's sitting in the back of a chauffeur-driven car talking about money, and he was an odious little squit then, and he's an odious large squit now. But thanks, Lauren. 0345 6060 973. I just got the feeling that Lauren was going to, say things that she shouldn't oughter. I mean, she already did. Borderline.
Disgusting.
But I felt that she was going to say, she was going to get deeper into the language. Awful.
I think it's disgusting. I really think it's disgusting. I think something should be done about it.
Something should be done about it. Fran in Canterbury says, no, got that one. Here's one. I mean, I've got a lot. Way too many, in fact. Not that I'm complaining. You know me. This text says, Nick, are you being fair with your reporting of British gas profits? This is from yesterday. These are all tweets and such from yesterday. I haven't got through that yet. I'm very bad at my job. Says, are you being fair with your reporting of British gas profits? Yes, I was. Thanks for asking. It says, British Gas Home Energy has not made £6 billion in profits for Centric. I think it's Centrica. That was made by Centric selling gas/oil on the open market. The few million left was by BG Home Energy. Come on, be honest. Well, I certainly am glad that you texted in to correct me. Boy, do I feel foolish. I never said that they made £6 billion in profits by British Gas. I said that the profits that British Gas did make contributed to the £6 billion in profits that Centric made. You idiot. But I wish you, the best of health, and I hope you have a happy life. Mark says, I wonder if Sunak's new slogan will be "Stop the lorries." No, it's going to be "Stop the votes." By any method possible, stop the votes. It's the country's number one priority.
The country's priority is to stop the votes. And at the same time, I think people know that I'm relentlessly focusing on stopping the votes. And I'm relentlessly focused on stopping the votes. That's one of my 5 priorities, stopping the votes. And I think people know that I'm working night and day to stop the votes. I firmly believe that that's what the country wants me to do. That's what the government is committed to doing, and we're working night and day to stop the votes. That's what the country wants us to focus on, and I will keep at it.
Yeah, you seriously want to grip it, Sunak?
I'm gripping it.
He is actually gripping it right now. Oh, my God, there's a picture. My glamorous assistant next door has just pulled this up out of space. And there's a picture of Jacob Rees-Mogg with a monocle on. What an absolute plank. I mean, I can't think of a better word, can you? Look up plank in the dictionary. It'll have a picture of some 12-year-old plank with affecting to wear a monocle. God. And what a haircut as well. Good grief. Looks like he's had an accident with a threshing machine. He's been playing this act his whole life. No 12-year-old is genuinely like that. It's put on. He's just been putting it on so long, he doesn't know where he stops and the act begins.
Pompous politicians have been running this country for too long.
Pompous politicians have been running this country for too long. Correctamundo. Wembley Park. Christoph.
Oh, hi, Nick. I wasn't expecting to come on so soon, so I'll just have to hope I don't choke when I swallow it.
Well, would you like me to put you back on hold?
No, please don't.
Okay,
no,
then.
Don't. Yes, actually interesting. I think Lauren was talking about the monocle Jacob Rees-Mogg, and it made me think back to I think it was the late 80s, around the time of the so-called Big Bang, when the city went computerised. Yeah. You remember terms like...
Well, that's not what the Big Bang was, when the city went computerised. It was,
no, it was. The stock exchange. Stock exchange.
That's not what the Big Bang means, when they went computerised. What the Big Bang means is they essentially started acting like they were in Vegas, and they started betting vast amounts of other people's money.
Well...
And
that got easier when it was computerised.
Right, but the computerisation of it had absolutely no effect on the relaxing of the regulations. It may have gone in tandem, but that's not what Big Bang means. But anyway, go on.
No. The Big Bang did refer to it becoming computerised, I think. But look, that's not. It was around that time that the thing they called the Big Bang happened. There were terms such as yuppie. And young fogey. I don't know if you remember those.
Yes.
Yuppie. And so there were kind of young conservatives around there. That's not really the main point. I just sort of thought, wow, yes, young. I mean, I suppose Jacob Rees-Mogg was one of those. Yeah, but
that's ancient history. Fogey. I mean, I know it does sound like yesterday to you and me, but that to everybody else, to anybody under the age of 50, that's ancient history. That is. I mean, you talk about the 1980s, and it does sound like yesterday to me. But good grief, that's 40 years ago.
But the thing.
Hold on, just a minute. Wait. Just pause and let that sink in. The 1980s was 40 years ago. Wow.
Correct.
Just blown my mind. Go on.
Yes. Around that time, late 80s, Donald Trump published a double-page advert in the New York Times saying that America should get its NATO allies to pay more. Yeah, America was paying too much into NATO.
That came up just the other day on social media somewhere. I can't remember where it was.
Yeah. I think I picked this up on MSNBC or something,
Right.
and it seems that when he married his first wife Ivana, who was a Czechoslovak model, because it was one country then. Apparently, the Czechoslovak the branch of the KGB got interested in Donald Trump and started kind of inviting him to Russia and kind of charming him and telling him what a great guy he was.
Yeah.
And there's almost the implication that they helped to finance some of his early ventures into property, and certainly persuaded him that he was good enough to go into politics at that time.
Right, well, we have absolutely no information one way or the other whether he was actually a made guy.
Absolutely.
Is that what you're saying?
What do you mean? I don't know about no information. I mean, this is just come out on MSNBC that I heard it. That the Czech. I don't know if it was in the Russia probe. I mean, I'm surprised that it's only been mentioned now. But anyway, I suppose the main point I'm making is that I just think that our adversaries seem to plan ahead so much better than we do when they're trying to undermine us.
Well, if you're running a dictatorship, it's easy to plan ahead because you know that you're still going to be, or you can place a pretty good bet that you are still going to be running the show in 20 years' time. Difficult for people who are facing getting chucked out on their ear every 5 years to do the same.
This is a time of perestroika and glasnost, but I suppose they still regarded America as a long-term adversary. I mean, 40 yeah.
Are you saying to me that Russia planted Donald Trump and then waited 40 years to reap the benefits? Because that's just silly.
That is what it was the Soviet Union. It was the Soviet Union. Then.
Oh, come on! I mean, that's that's just nonsense. They waited 40 years for the payoff.
And why not?
Oh, come off it, Christoph. That's just a silly thing to think. I mean, they may have done him a favour back then for their own personal benefit at that time, and then taken advantage of the circumstance as it presented itself just recently. But they did not plant Donald Trump 40 years ago and then, as a sort of sleeper agent and wait 40 years to reap the payoff. I mean, I'll believe quite a lot, Christoph, but I will not go that far. But anyway, thanks for that. 0345 6060 973. Yeah, his wives, where have they been from? It was like Slovenia, Slovakia. It just proves that there's a lot of jobs that American women just will not do. That's not my joke. That was somebody else's. That might have been Jon Stewart actually, who's back. He's back on Comedy Central. He's back for the countdown to Armageddon. 034 5th of November, by the way.
Nick Abbott on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
Right, so what are we doing?
We are reading out a message that was put on a newspaper by Donald Trump in 1987. And it goes as follows. For decades, Japan and other nations have been taking advantage of the United States after arguing that Japan and the Middle East had abused U.S. support. The letter got to its point. Make Japan, Saudi Arabia and others pay for the protection we extend as allies. Let's help our farmers, our sick, our homeless, by taking from some of the greatest profit machines ever created, machines created and nurtured by us. Tax these wealthy nations, not America, it read. It was signed by Donald J. Trump. Well, I mean, there's some truth in that, but let's not get carried away and, give him more credit than he deserves. At the time, Donald Trump was giving money to the Democratic Party, not the Republican Party. So just because once in a while he says something that isn't stupid doesn't mean to say that we should change our mind about Donald Trump.
Oh, shut up!
Just saying. Mark from Norwich says, we need to vote reform just to see what happens. For a giggle. He said, we voted Brexit just to see what would happen, and that worked out okay. So why would we change a winning formula? I've stumped you there, haven't I? Says Mark. Well, you stunned me, but that's not the same. Yeah, let's just give reform a chance. Why not? What could possibly go wrong? Well, I mean, you know, but there are a few idiots in the party.
We've got a few idiots in our party.
And you know, the gaping frog is not a fit person to be in government.
Nigel Farage is not fit and proper to be in government.
But apart from that, John in Devon says, good evening. Very formal. He says, my question for Titchy Smallsuit would be, if he is working night and day, when does he get to sleep? I really want to know the answer to this one. Can you help? Says John. No. Well, we do know that he doesn't eat much, which is weird. And I mean this in the nicest possible way, but if you don't eat your dinner, you won't grow up to be big and strong. That's undeniably true. Sam in Cambridge says, hi, Nick, if you had anyone but this on the ballot sheet for the election, they would probably beat Labour. Labour have gone back on so many pledges that we actually don't know what they stand for. I'm getting a little tired of that. Just look it up. I mean, it will take you about 10 seconds. I can't do it right now because I'm doing a show, but I'll do it in a break and I'll illuminate it for you afterwards. Or you could just do it yourself. Why am I doing your homework? Crying out loud. Chump I am. Let's have Ealing Mohammed.
Hi, Nick. Good evening. How you doing, buddy?
Yes,
You're right.
sir. Not bad.
Oh, I don't know what's going on. You know, it clearly looks like we're going to get a Labour landslide, but Sir Keir Starmer doesn't inspire me absolutely whatsoever. We need some.
Well, when was the last politician who inspired you? Who? What? Name names.
Tony Blair.
Tony Blair.
Yeah, Tony Blair, Barack Obama, in terms of foreign
right
leaders. I think Tony Blair was in terms of national politics, I think he was a great leader. I think he made a major mistake with the Iraq War, but apart from that, I thought his ideas in terms of, you know, the changes that he brought to the country were major, especially coming into the new millennium as well.
How about Gordon Brown? Any ideas on him?
Boring, dull.
Boring? Don't you think that we would actually benefit from a little period of boring? I mean, have we not been entertained enough?
Yeah. Wait a minute.
Huh?
We got boring at the moment, haven't we, Nick, to be honest with you?
No, we've just got a ever-shifting clown show.
Absolutely.
It just gets worse and worse with each iteration.
I cannot believe the state of our country. If I was to do a State of the Union address for our country, tell me where should we begin?
Right, well, we can begin and end on the one syllable. It would be... And that is the State of the Country address.
Absolutely. There's nothing works whatsoever. Nothing inspires you. Everyone's miserable. Everyone's dull. No one's happy.
Right.
And it's just getting worse and worse and worse. And then with Sir Keir Starmer looming, it gets better and better and better, doesn't it, Nick?
Well, it would. I imagine it would cease to get worse at the current rate. It's going to take a long time to turn the country around. We're not driving a Mini here. This is a tanker, and it'll take 5-10 years to turn this mess around.
I think it's going to be generations. You know, I'm talking about 2-3 generations before we see the fruit of any potential change that any government brings to the country that is positive.
Right. Well. Yeah, I think you could do things straight away. You could make people more secure in their positions. You could reverse the cuts with the things that we rely on. You wouldn't have to spend a vast amount of money. You could just repurpose the money from, lining the pockets of billionaires to actually filling the potholes in a blooming road would be a good idea for a start.
That would be a great start, but do you think Sir Keir Starmer and his team have got the ambition or the inspirational talent to do any work of caliber
Yes.
for the country.
Yes, I do. But you don't. But what leads you to that conclusion? Because they're not entertaining.
No, it's not about entertainment. It's about the ideas that they are trying to lay out to the country or to the electorate. It's not too dissimilar from the Tory party. Do you see what I mean? And that kind of policy is what brought us here right now.
Only because people's wants and wishes are the same regardless. People want to be healthy. They want to not struggle to get by on a daily basis. They want to protect the environment that they live in. They want to feel safe. They want to feel that they can get ahead in life. I mean, all these are pretty much the same, regardless of which political party you go for. I mean, they will tweak little things, and sometimes they will concentrate on stopping the boats, for instance, which isn't going to really improve our lives any, because there's such a piddlingly small number of people who come by boats compared to those who come holding a visa through Heathrow Airport totally legally. It ain't going to make no difference if he stops the boats or not. But all of the rest of it, just improve our lives. It just depends on whether you think that the Conservative Party, based on their record, is serious about improving your life, or whether the Labour Party, based on what the country was like when they were last in, is more likely to do that. And this thing was, and I'm just getting kind of tired of it, to be honest. Oh, well, we've got no idea what Labour stands for. They stand for everything that most parties stand for, making your life better. You just have to decide whether you think that they are more likely to do it, or whether the Conservative Party, after 14 staggeringly awful years, are the party to actually clean up the mess that they have made. This is part of the reason why the turnout was so low at those by-elections. I mean, by-elections always have low turnouts, but alarmingly, we might have the next election might be, if not as bad as 37%. I mean, if it's as low as 50%, then weird and awful things might happen. So stop saying that you don't know what they stand for. They stand for improving your life. Just who do you think of those choices available is more likely to do that?
On your radio, on Global Player, and
Play LBC.
leading Britain's conversation. This is LBC. This is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with Nick Abbot.
Oh, hello.
I really like you. Do you like me?
Yeah, sure, why not? All that time that I've saved, now I don't have to watch Match of the Day because I know what all the results are. Sam in Cambridge says, that's one about the anyone but this on the ballot sheet. And Labour have gone back on so many pledges that we actually don't know what they stand for. They stand for what every other party stands for, making your life better. It's whether you believe them or not. Do you believe Titchy Suit-Size when he says he's going to make your life better? Did you believe Titchy Suit-Size when he said this?
No, I don't recall, and I don't recall. I can't specifically recall, can't precisely recall. No, I don't remember them, but I don't precisely. I can't remember it precisely. I can't precisely recall that. I don't.
Yeah, that's his evidence in full. I don't know. He's running the country. Can you believe that?
No.
Yeah. I wonder if you can remember that. He wakes up every morning and goes, where am I? Who are you? I think somebody should check on him. He should make him do that test that Donald Trump says that he aced, where he got the everything in order to get extra points.
If you get it in order, you get extra points. If you get it in order, you get extra points.
Extra points for getting it in order. I wonder if Titchy Suit-Size would pass that test, because he doesn't seem to be able to remember anything. Can he even remember what his top priority is?
It's the country's number one priority. It's my number one priority up and down the country, and that will be our focus.
That will be our focus as soon as he remembers what it is. Because in the meantime, he can't recall.
No, I don't recall.
He doesn't recall that, no. Can't remember. This text says, you seem like a musical man. What does that mean? I'm thinking of being offended. What do you mean by that? You seem like a musical man. Go and see Standing at Sky's Edge. Superbly poignant musical and is heading from sunny Sheffield to London as we speak. Richard Hawley's music, very moving, says that texter. Yeah, it's a no from me. Poignant, no thanks. I want HAPPY-ness when I go out. I don't want poignant. I don't want to spell poignant. I don't even want to see it written down. This says tickets for Taylor Swift concert are £700. You're kidding. £700 to see Taylor Swift. Who can afford that? What 12-year-old can afford £700 to go and see Taylor Swift? And what would you get when you got there? Not £700 worth, that's for sure. I am stunned. Really? 700 quid? That's insane. Somebody's ripping somebody off. 0345 6060 973. Oxted, Pat.
Hello.
Yes, Pat.
Well, I'm surprised anybody wants to be a politician, quite frankly.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I mean, there's so many idiots out there, it doesn't matter how much you help them, you get them all sorted out, and then they go and do something stupid, and you're back where you started.
Plus, you just get yelled at.
Give up.
Yeah, you get yelled at in the street, you get called...
I think it's time.
Everything under the sun.
I think it's time Richie and Sakir got together over a pint and threatened us and said, if you don't start looking after yourself a bit, we're going to give up helping you.
They're going to build a big, beautiful wall around Westminster, and we'll all be outside, and we can just get on with ourselves, and they'll be inside, smoking a cheroot with their feet up.
Oh, you help some people. You can see it. They haven't got a clue.
Right.
So much for education.
We don't need no education.
No, we don't need education.
We don't need no thought control.
No, everything went wrong when we invented the wheel.
Did we invent the wheel? Oh, that was ours, was it?
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that. Okay. All right. Good work there, Pat. Thanks. Cheers, minute. Cheer up. It might never Oh, no. That's right. It already has. Last couple of texts and tweets from last night. Blimey, it's practically halfway through this show already, and I'm finished from last... How many have I got today? Oh, for crying out loud. I'll never get through that. How do these people get my number? Jim emails, please let all of your overseas listeners that they can now register to vote. Please let all your loyal overseas listeners know that they can now register to vote. This was not allowed before, but the laws have changed. I've just received a reply from the Electoral Commission, and I am now registered as an overseas voter. Every vote will count, says Jim, who is not familiar with the English language or has just typed that too quick and it was all spelt wrong. Never mind. I'm not a stickler for accuracy. Text from Dave says, I have always lived in a safe seat for one party or the other. Every vote I have ever cast has been wasted. What is the point? Stop doing this, people. The point is things can change. Even the safe seats switch at some point. This is exactly what the regime would want. For us to sort of give up. To shrug our shoulders and say, oh, well, what's the point? They're all the same. They're all in it for themselves. Doesn't matter who you vote for, nothing ever changes. Stuff like that. Knowing that their ardent fans will vote regardless. It's like Brexit. I knew that Brexit would go the way it did because the people who wanted it would have gone through fire to vote out because they had been persuaded that their life would get better, by a bunch of oily, mendacious charlatans. Liar! Exactly. Thinking of no flat-hatted person in particular. And the people that were not that bothered about staying in, because that's what the status quo was, They weren't that concerned about going and voting. But the people who wanted out, absolutely 100% went out to vote. I bet the vast number of people who didn't vote in that election would have voted Remain. They just weren't one-issue obsessives. That's all. And that's what the regime is hoping for, I'm sure. Right-wingers the whole world over, it's the same. If you depress the vote, if you reduce the number of people who go out and vote, then it's more likely than not that right-wingers, furious, blood-boiling, eye-bulging right-wingers, are going to go out and vote, regardless of the weather at the time. Regardless of what impediment you put in their way with voter ID or having to stand in a queue for 3 hours and, all the rest of that stuff. All these cute little schemes that they come up with to try to reduce the numbers of people voting, because the obsessives are going to vote regardless. So just stop that. I mean, really, you've got to jolt yourself out of your malaise in that regard. They're not all the same. Things will change, and your vote is not worthless. Wake up, sheeple. It's later than you think. Grimsby. William.
Nick.
William.
How are you doing?
Good, thanks.
Good. Well, going on, you're very positive tonight. Very positive.
Yeah.
That's good.
I'm full of
it. Yeah, you are. What you said about every vote mattering, I think that's never been more true. The Reform Party being around, we sort of, I don't know, are we lefty, wokerati, whatever? We might see that as...
Are you one of those people
terrible.
that does the wokey-cokey?
Okie dokie.
Yes, we all do. All in now, that's it. I think Reform being around, splitting the Conservative Party and taking votes off them.
Yeah.
And then you've got, South East London and around the metropolitan area, Liberal Democrats doing well, SNP collapsing in Scotland. Labour have got to do something really, really bad not to at least get in with a small majority.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we can't be complacent, but I think we should be positive. Yeah.
That's what the regime is relying on. Complacency. Yeah. A sort of ennui. Excellent word, that. ENNUI. A sense of I'll sum that up for you in a sound. That. Just shake yourself out of that, people. Come on.
And Nick, my local MP, Leah Nietzsche, remember we spoke about her before? She looks like Boris. You remember? You do remember?
No, I don't. Leah Nietzsche?
Leah Nietzsche.
Leah Nietzsche.
She's the one taking fashion advice from her dearly beloved, yeah.
Who is her dearly beloved?
Well, Boris Johnson, of course.
Leah Nietzsche is her...
Yeah.
I have no idea what you're talking about right now.
No, Leah Nietzsche, she's the MP for Grimsby, and basically she was Boris's private secretary. She's a big Boris fan. Anyway, I haven't seen her in months and months and months. I think she may have left Grimsby. She's just given up. So,
Leah Nietzsche. Go, okay, I got a picture of her right here in the palm of my hand. Oh, yeah, it looks like she goes to the same the same stylist. She's got one of those hair don'ts.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Yeah, but apart from that, yeah. So right. So you haven't seen her in Grimsby of late. Well,
No,
nobody in Uxbridge saw hide nor hair of Bodger Johnson. I bet you couldn't find the place with a sat nav.
Both nutters, so I'm very pleased.
Right. Okay. Another satisfied customer. Thanks a lot, William. 0345 6060 973. Cruella Bradman tweeted the other day, says this text, we need a tougher approach from the police, and if government we are to No, she didn't tweet anything of the sort. She actually tweeted, we need a tougher approach from the police and government if we are to combat hatred. Do you think the authorities have taken her advice and acted on it ASAP, as I haven't seen or heard from her since? Yeah, they've taken that hatred and tried to lock it up in a box. Throw away the key. I do feel that we're in a sort of limbo, and I'm not talking about trying to get under a low bar, although there is an element of that. But we're just sort of just kicking our heels as a nation, aren't we? Just waiting around. Oh, God, how much more of this suffering must we take? It's almost like waiting for winter to end. It's like, come on. How long do we have to wait? Suffering like this. I feel that that's how the nation is conducting itself at the minute. We're just sort of, struggling and just about managing to get by and shrugging our shoulders and, mustn't grumble, all that British stuff. But really, we just want to get on with the rest of our lives. But we're put on pause now, specifically because of...
this government.
Exactly.
Nick Abbott on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
Preposterous!
Martin says, I need help. I cannot wait to contact you and Carol McGiffin as this dilemma needs urgent attention. He's talking about the podcast that me and Carol do.
Right, so what are we doing?
Carol, we're doing a podcast. It comes out twice a week on Fridays and Mondays called What's Your Problem with Nick and Carol? And I do believe that you will find it amusing. I laugh out loud during the recording of that podcast more than at any other time during the week. We set each other off. I don't know what it's like. There's what's the word for a spark between us? We've got charisma. No, that ain't right. It's chemistry is the right answer. Chemistry. Thank you. That's actually not the right answer. No, it's not chemistry. We haven't got chemistry. We've got we're in tune. Except we disagree about everything. Anyway, it is funny, I guarantee it, or your money back. What's Your Problem with Nick and Carol is available on an internet near you. It's on Global Player, of course, and there's over 200 episodes up there, and we solve people's dilemmas. But Martin can't wait, so he has emailed the following. He says, I've been invited to a reunion drink with some old friends, but they insist on going to a pub that rhymes with goons. He says, ever since that coiffured, mulleted clown, Tim Martin, started spouting on about Brexit, I've refused to spend my money in his establishments. I'm trying to work out how to manage my conscience. If I give the same amount of money that I spend at a pub that rhymes with goons to a refugee charity, does that make me Brexit even, like carbon neutral? Please advise immediately, says Martin. I just think you're going to have to hold your nose, probably literally and figuratively, and just go with your mates. But, only for that one time. You only get a pass that one time if you're going with your mates, Martin. Otherwise, you'll just feel awful about yourself. 0345 6060 973. Let's have Osaka in Japan. Hello, John.
Hi, Nick. How you doing?
I believe that Japan has now gone into recession. I think we and Japan are the only two G7 countries that are actually have gone into recession. But you're probably feeling the effects of poverty a lot less in Japan, I would suggest, than you are here.
Yeah, I only heard about the recession through the UK news. They're still going on about the expo most of the time in the newspapers here.
Oh, so, right. When does that start?
2025, if so.
Oh,
they're
right.
a bit worried if they can get it done in time, but... yeah.
Oh, of course they will. You kidding? Of course they'll get it done in time. All of these things, all these major events, the World Cup and the Olympics and all of that, they always freak out about a year out. They say, oh, well, this will never work. And it always does. Don't worry about it. Get your tickets in early, John. If I was living where you were, I'd be buying my tickets straight away.
That's good to hear. There's a bit of a regional conflict as well, because there's a lot of taxpayer money going into it. But
yeah, of course.
It keeps being called the Osaka Banpaku Expo, and so everyone in Tokyo is saying, why are we giving all our money to them to have their little Osaka Expo? We don't care about that. So there's a sort of there's a bit
Why
of a regional
can't people just get along, for crying out loud? Is that how you pronounce it, by the way? Because we Brits say Osaka. I know I do, but it's
yeah,
Osaka.
Yeah, Big O.
Right. Okay.
That's the way it's done. Although don't feel the need to.
No, I don't.
Follow along with it.
I absolutely do
That's
not.
relief.
Around about now, you're going to have the most fantastic displays of blossom. I was in Kew Gardens just this week, and it's starting. Spring is about to spring. But in Japan, you have blossom like you wouldn't believe.
Yeah, now we've got the plum blossoms.
Yes.
And then in April,
Cherry.
or end of March, we'll have the cherries, which are the real.
I know. I've seen some pictures. I've seen some pictures of just enormous areas that are just blanketed with blossom. It looks absolutely fantastic. Almost worth getting on a plane and leaving this place to go there.
Oh yes, it's great. The only thing is, so flights will be much more expensive. They'll really peak around that time because that is it's the kind of peak season, so to speak.
Yes, I would be a bit concerned about. I mean, do you speak Japanese?
Yeah, I've been here about 7 years now, so it's kind of.
And so can you read it?
Yeah.
Or is that different? Because with all the symbols and so on, they're not.
Reading's harder, but I can read and write well enough.
Because I can just about get by in European countries by doing the normal British thing, that if somebody doesn't understand what you're saying, when you're bellowing at them in English, you just talk louder. You most certainly, absolutely and totally do not try to attempt to speak to them in their own language, even if you can sort of get by from schoolboy French. But in Japan, I mean, that would be... my understanding of it is it would be so weird. It'd be like going onto an alien planet.
Well, I don't know, like 20, 30 years ago, and in the countryside maybe, but in the big metropolitan areas, they're pretty used to having foreigners and Westerners around now. So,
but is there anything written in English? Because if you're looking for street signs, how would you even begin to say to know what it is or where you are?
Yeah, this is very nice. All the road signs, like important things like stop, and like places, name places. They're written in English as well.
Is that right?
So yeah. So
well, you know what we don't do here is put important signs and street names in Japanese. We just don't do that.
If you do it for Japanese, you have to do it for all sorts of people, and then the street signs would become massive, trying to fit it all in.
Right. Well, that is true. Yeah.
You do get Japanese, Korean, Chinese, and English, and that's like your standard set of translations on trains and stuff. And even then, it kind of cycles between them. If it's like an electronic sign, you have to wait for your language to come up. So it's.
By which time your train has gone, because it left on time. And if it left a second late, they'd be apologising the entire trip, right?
Yeah, they would be. Yeah, there would be a big fuss about it.
Yeah, a hoo-ha, as I believe they say in Japan. A hoo-ha. That's exactly what they say.
That's exactly what they said. Yeah, that's what they say. The reason I was calling, I heard you were talking about the young Conservatives.
Oh yeah.
And you think that was a surprising thing to exist.
Yes.
Well, I've got something that will rock your world, all right?
Okay, well, wait a minute. Let me prepare myself. Okay, go ahead.
The young UKIPs.
The young UKIPs. Wow. That's taking it up.
I don't know if that's the proper name, but back in around 2012, when I was in North of England University Hall of Residence, put in as a young 18-year-old, the boy 2 doors down from me, he was like a young UKIP member, and he was like he didn't actually have a monocle, but he was pretty much exactly like Jacob Rees-Mogg.
Really?
In terms of he spoke in this like amazing. I thought I couldn't believe it when I met him. It was like talking to a caricature. Is this an act?
Yes. It is. It is an act. It's Smug's act. It's just that he's been doing it for so long, he doesn't know where the act stops.
Right. Yeah, well, and this affected me in 2 ways, basically.
Yeah.
There was one problem, and I benefited in one way as well. So the problem was actually, so he made quite a few enemies around the place, yeah. And in January, it snowed a lot, and a lot of people, they took to throwing snowballs at his windows quite a lot. Yeah.
Right. Well, that's no big deal. Were his windows closed at the time?
Well, they were closed.
Right.
But then one day, I don't know if it was really compact snow or whether they put like a brick in it or something, but they smashed his blooming window.
Oh, well, there's no reason for doing that.
Yeah, and so our whole corridor became quite cold.
Yeah.
And even my room was, I had the heater on full blast.
Well, you all suffered as a result.
Yeah. So did not appreciate that. But the thing that kind of made up for it was he moved out at the end of the year, quite a bit earlier, a few days earlier than everyone else. But he left all his really nice plates and bowls and stuff in the kitchen. So he didn't want them. But they were, I think I had IKEA stuff or relatively cheap and cheerful stuff.
Yeah.
But his stuff was, I don't know, from some department store. It was very nice.
I can only dream of eating off plates bought from a department store.
Yeah, and all the other people on the same floor were like, yeah, we don't want it. You can have it if you want.
Yeah.
So I was eating off this UKIP plate for years to come.
What were you eating? Kippers?
Quiche.
Quiche.
For example.
Oh well, I would have expected those plates to reject quiche, it being the embodiment of woke food.
I don't know. I used to be able to get it for £1.50 in Asda, so it didn't seem that bad. But yeah.
Well,
that was it, really.
Well, okay, thanks for walking us down the memory. £1.50 in Asda, you say? That sounds like excellent value for money.
Like that.
Yeah, all right, good work.
Sure.
Thanks a lot, John. Cheers, mate. Can you believe that call, as clear as that was coming from Japan? And I think it uses a mobile as well. How is that possible? I bet the very next call... I'll take the next call as near to where I'm sitting as possible, and I bet I can barely hear a word by comparison. Nothing works in this country. Where's all the money gone?
Leading Britain's conversation. Nick Abbott. Alexa, send a comment to LBC.
I am not one of your fans!
So my glamorous assistant has just found the UKIP shop. I had no idea that such a thing existed. And there's a young independence flag. It says Britain's patriotic youth. Wow, my mind's going...
Warning, warning!
I'm surprised it's not in red and black. What would you say that symbol looks like? It looks a bit...
I'm just Googling exactly what that symbol looks like.
Looks a bit History Channel, doesn't it?
History Channel,
yeah,
exactly.
That's right. I am freaking out in here. I would suggest that if you don't like your neighbour, buy a UKIP flag and the Young Independence Britain's Patriotic Youth flag with that suspicious symbol. Put that in your front window, and they'll have a for sale sign on their lawn within the week. Chelsea, hello, Mark.
Oh, hi. Can you hear me?
Not as well as I could hear the bloke from Japan.
I know it's happened to me too from Dubai. It's curious. I'm sure some technical person can explain.
Yeah, no doubt.
But you've distracted me now. Down the road, I was going to go on about Ukraine. Down the road from me, there's a geezer who's got two huge signs on his window facing the street at street level saying, "Make Britain great again. Vote reform."
Right.
And
I don't know where these people get off with their "again" part. I mean, who the hell do they think they're talking about? Again? Make Britain great again?
Well, Victorian times.
Right.
Well, I mean it. But the thing is, it's split. The building is split, and it's not a big one. It has 4 doorbells. So he sublets parts of it, they obviously for income, and they're entirely Chinese students.
Are you saying that Chinese students have got that sign in their window?
No, it's the landlord, the Anglo-Saxon landlord who believes against immigration.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Anyway, very quickly, if I may, regarding Ukraine. This is traditionally, historically, it has always been a very, very poor country. And when communism ended and most previous Warsaw Pact countries could join the EU, for some reason, it didn't and couldn't. And before small boats became front page news, it was back of lorries. And I actually met highly educated, highly disciplined, because the thing with communism is it can end and capitalism can start, but the discipline of the previous culture of communism remains. So highly educated, university educated, because that bad thing, communism, did really create a lot of universities, a lot of education, a lot of discipline. And they were going on the back of lorries. And the one guy I met, he could have been a Vogue model. It's extraordinary. And he had PhDs in major subjects, physics and chemistry, whatever stuff. But he would pretend to be stupid as an illegal immigrant here, and to do menial work for London Underground just to get cash.
Yeah, or they're driving a cab and you find out that the person that is driving your cab has twice the qualifications to do a proper job than you do, and is busy on minimum wage.
Yeah, but this guy hid the qualifications because he didn't want to, not get the job. And he would pretend to be from an EU country, Lithuania or Poland. Anyway, he got nicked, returned, and came back again. He was deported and came back again on the back of the lorry and got nicked again.
Yeah.
And the beauty of the legal system is when you're nicked for that, your computer and everything you've got is also kept by the police because it's the proceeds of crime, you see. But anyway, so he just wanted to work. Anyway, now Ukraine is okay. This is the beauty of it. It's the first time in history, or the history of Ukraine, that this much hard currency is pouring into it in terms of, before hardware, military hardware, cash, billion after billion. And now Zelensky has literally got, I hesitate to say EU, NATO, because it's predominantly US, UK that lead military, financial conflicts led by the US. He now is asking for more, but it's so unwinnable, so expensive, and it's so dumb to think that this ex-KGB colonel, Putin, is dumb and stupid and nuts and like Adolf Hitler. But even if he is, he's got some advice, and it would have dawned on him, if he was really, really dumb, that if you can't hold, you can take a bit of territory, land, but you can't even hold it. It really isn't a good idea to try and do what the Telegraph and the Sun and the Times say, which is take on the whole world, the US, the UK, France, Germany.
Hey, Mark, I'm really at a loss to know what point it is you're trying to make. What point is it you're trying to make?
That very far, okay, then 18 words. As people sleep rough and freeze in the streets here, pouring billions into an unwinnable war, pretending this man is Adolf Hitler and will take on the whole world is inaccurate.
All right, okay. Thanks a lot, Mark. Exhausting. 0345 6060 973. Took a long while to get round to that. Blimey, if you'd told me where the route we were going to take at the beginning of that journey, I wouldn't have taken it. Maurice texts, the Tories tell us that hard-working people deserve to keep more of their money. You work hard, so you should get to keep more of your income. OK, not sure I buy into that argument, but let's play along. If you work hard for your money and are taxed at 40% on income between 50 and 125 grand, what should the tax rate be on monies where the individual does not work hard? That is, people who sit back and do nothing and pick up, say, £1.5 million on investments, capital gains. No hard work involved. Should it be higher or lower? I can almost hear the ghost of Brucey. Higher or lower? Yeah, and for a Brucey bonus, can you tell us exactly how much tax you should pay on capital investments? Capital gains tax, yes, it's an indication, if it were needed, that the game is rigged. And they keep telling us that, tax cuts. That's what we're going to be aiming at, tax cuts, as though that's what we need. Personal tax cuts remain the Chancellor's priority at the next month's budget. It's going to be a budget next month. Can you feel the excitement?
No.
That's what the Mail understands. Despite a gloomy economic picture, personal tax cuts remain the Chancellor's priority at the next month's budget. But you know what? It wouldn't matter if the Bank of England was on fire and the City of London had been sucked into a black hole and the nation's finances were in a worse state than Boris Johnson's sock drawer. This government are going to hand out tax cuts for the rich like sweeties at a kid's birthday party. Of course they will. The trick is to persuade the poor and the just about getting by that any tax cut is good for them. I mean, that is really the overarching theme of a Conservative administration. By any means possible, push through tax cuts for the rich and make out you're doing a favour for everybody else. And if it's 2p in the pound tax cut, which would be a huge cut that the regime will paint as being super generous, I mean, look at all this money you'll have. Vote Conservative, they'll say. It still means a 2p pound tax cut across the board will mean that somebody earning 25 grand a year will keep £240 extra per year. 65 pence per day.
Oh, fabulous.
And if you're on 125 grand a year, you'll be £2,500 better off. If you're on 25 grand a year, you'll be £240 better off. If you're on 125 grand a year, you'll be 2,500 better off. And the rich get richer, and the poor are duped into thinking that anyone who brings that up is engaging in the politics of envy. And I'll sum that up for you.
I love the poorly educated.
Yeah, sure you do. Jeremy Hunt, says the Mail, was dealt a double blow this week after official estimates suggested he has just £13 billion of fiscal headroom. And the data showed that Britain had slipped into a recession last year. OK, well, a couple of things. Jeremy Hunt doesn't have any fiscal headroom. That's just a load of nonsense. This country is £2.6 trillion in debt.
What?
2.6 trillion. I don't know how many zeros are in a trillion. All of them, I think. And it's a difficult thing to imagine. I know it is, so I'll make it visual for you.
Thank you.
If you had one of these old £1 notes and you stacked them on top of one another, the pile to reach £1 trillion would go past the International Space Station. It would be 68,000 miles high of £1 notes. That's what a trillion is. And we owe 2.6 of them. I mean, this money expert Prime Minister, Mr. Moneybags, the financial wizard, cost us $11 billion when he made the schoolboy error of not insuring against interest rate rises on the debt that we already have. But that is assuming that it was an error and not just another wizard way of transferring vast amounts of our money to the banks. 11 billion quid. That's more than the Tories accused Gordon Brown of wasting when he sold off some of our gold. Remember? God, they're still going on about that. And that was 11 billion 2 years ago that he cost us. So goodness knows what it's up to now. So no, they don't have any fiscal headroom. We're having to crouch to avoid hitting our head on the debt ceiling we have now. Just paying the interest on that debt costs us £83 billion a year. That's 5% of total government spending. It's almost twice as much as we spend on the military. What? And most of that debt was added by this administration over the past 14 years. It's 2.5 times what it was when the Labour Party was last in charge. And they'll try to tell you that it's COVID what done it. No, it wasn't. It was 2 trillion before COVID. They doubled the amount that we owe before anyone had heard of the mad bat disease. And what did we get for borrowing all that cash? I can't think of a single thing they spent it on that did any of us poor dopes who pay taxes any good. Can you? So when Jeremy Hunt appears on your screens, eyes wide open, like he's permanently stunned, like he's being perpetually goosed, and he talks about tax cuts because the fundamentals add up or some such nonsense, just think, 65 pence a day you'll be better off by if he cuts the tax rate by 2p in the pound. And that 65p a day will come out of the big pot labelled the NHS or road repairs or police numbers. It won't make any difference to you as a tax cut, but it would certainly improve all our lives if it was pooled for the benefit of the nation. But that's communist, lefty, woke talk. No! So I take it back.
This is LBC with Nick Abbott.
Everything is going extremely well.
Yeah, you bet it is. 0345 6060 973. Martin texts, Johnson should be charged with treason. That's Martin in Glasgow, brackets, not raining, if you can believe that.
No.
And Clive says, Sunak says the plan is working. Strange plan. It includes a recession. Yeah, he's got a plan.
We have a plan, or you just go back to square one.
Yeah, can we go back to square one? That'd be super. Can we do that straight away? Thanks. Let's have Nottingham. Hello, Adam.
Hi, Nick.
Adam.
Good to hear from you. Hi. I was going to say, I just heard that Rishi Sunak, we've got a plan, or we've got the Conservatives, we're delivering.
Yeah.
We're delivering.
Delivering on the plan, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Well, actually, no, not necessarily delivering on the plan, but delivering. We've got to ask the question, what plan? But yeah, this just takes me back to my old sort of days as a consultant, and real basics is that you've got to have two things. You've got to have a plan, and you've got to have the ability to deliver it. So whenever I hear, because that basically leads to sort of four separate instances. You can have a good plan, and you can deliver it where everything will be hunky-dory. You can have basically a plan, but don't have the means to deliver it, and it's just going to be the road to hell because it's just an intention. Or you've got the time where you've got essentially a delivery, but you've got no plan, and you're just going to be going around like a headless chicken. Or you've got no plan and no ability to deliver it, and so you're going to be in fire. And that's what it sort of seems to have been over the past 14 years. I'm not sure if you agree with that, but
well, my head is spinning with the number of plans that you just laid on me, and I'm at a loss as to distinguish one between the other. But I do believe that the plan that Rishi Sunak has is just to say the word plan a lot.
Yeah, the plan for what? Yeah, plan for how's he going to deliver it?
When you said you were a consultant, you didn't mean a medical consultant, did you? You meant a business consultant. Is that right?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Am I right in thinking that people employ business consultants so that they will give the management the advice to do what they were going to do anyway? It's just that because they've employed a consultant, if it all goes wrong, they can blame you and say that it's got nothing to do with me. That was the advice of this moron consultant.
That's a cynical way of looking at it, Nick. And of course you're not cynical.
Who,
at all,
me?
Nick. No, never.
But do you not feel that managers often employ a consultancy because they're too timid to actually enact a policy themselves? They don't want to own it. They want to do it, but they don't want to have to fess up if it doesn't work. That you're basically being used as a shield.
Maybe not a shield, but they'd like to. Well, the term I think is having assurance for it, Nick.
Right, a criticism. A criticism deflector shield is I think what it is.
Maybe. Yeah. Well, I wouldn't look at it that way. But,
and why did you get out of that racket?
Not necessarily a racket. It's not necessarily a racket thing. It's just I think it's just time for pastures new and time to relax, Nick. If you know what I mean.
Relaxing. I can only dream of being able to relax. I work 9 hours a week. Can you believe that? Rushed off my feet, I am. All right, good work. Thanks a lot, Adam. Cheers, mate. 0345 6060 973. Nigel says, this is all too serious, Nick. What's better, a pub snack, scampi fries or pork scratchings? What's better, pub snack, scampi fries or pork scratchings? What are scampi fries? Is it fried scampi? Because the two, if that is what it is, then the two are not comparable at all. Because pork scratchings are these hideous things that come in a small bag, and fried scampi is a meal. Am I missing something? Is there a product called scampi fries?
There certainly is.
What is it?
I'm just going to put it up on your screen.
Ah, he's putting it up on my screen now. He's going to throw it up on my screen. I literally can't wait. Oh, here it is. Scampi fries. Scampi flavoured fries. Flavoured? Well, that's got warning bells ringing in my mind. Warning! Flavoured? What does that mean? What's in them? What are the ingredients? Where can you find what the ingredients are? They're a secret? Well, that's alarming. How come there's no ingredients on here? Item in stock, $9.99?
What?
You're joking. For a bag of scampi... Oh, no, but... Yeah, $9.99 for a bag... For a small bag, like the size of a crisp bag, of scampi fries. A tenner? You're kidding. How is it £10?
For 3 packets, it's still outrageous.
But it doesn't matter. No, it says quantity range 1 to 3 is $9.99 for the unit price.
Yeah, that's how wholesalers work. So you're going to be buying a minimum amount of 3 to get that price.
Yeah, so that's 30 quid for 3... Wow. What's in them? Yeah, it comes with one of those little salt twists inside, except it's not salt. 034... Yeah, form an orderly queue. But they don't say what's in it. I would be very suspicious of eating something that they refuse to tell you what the ingredients are. So it's a no from me to both of those things. I'd rather go hungry, if that's any help. Neither of the above. Okay, here we go. These are the ingredients.
Yeah, I've also got a caller here who wants to talk to you about scampi fries.
Right, where did you get the ingredients from?
The interwebs.
Oh. Wheat flour, salt, yeast, paprika, annatto norbixin, and queer cumin. That's not homosexual cumin. It's C-U-I-R cumin. Maize, wheat foller. W-H-E-A-T-F-O-L-U-R. I'm pretty sure that's wrong. But it does have calcium, iron, niacin and thiamine in it, which you get from the scrapings of people's thighs, apparently. It's got scampi and lemon seasoning lactose. Oh. Soya flavour enhancer. And potassium chloride. And acid! It's got acid in it, so that's why it's so expensive. No wonder. A bag of those and cancel all further appointments. You'll be out for the day. You don't necessarily have to leave where you are, but you will be out for the day. So I'd like to change my order, please. Who wants to talk to me? Oh, Shelby Harrogate. Hello.
Hello, you all right?
Yes, good, thanks.
Hiya. I want to talk to you about scampi fries. I love scampi fries.
Oh, yeah. What do they taste like?
I don't actually know. They're like lemonade. And
You
in COVID,
don't know?
Yeah, because when you was reading out the description, the ingredients, I was like, I don't actually know what they are. I just like them.
Yeah, but what do they taste like?
Lemon. They're like lemonade. And in COVID, there was a shortage of them. So, I got my husband to go around loads of petrol stations looking for them. And in the end, we had to order, a pub sleeve of them. And they came, 30. So I ended up having, 30 packets. But I don't know what they are.
And do they actually cost £10 a packet?
No. You can get them at, working men's clubs for, 70p.
70p? Right, well, that's more like it.
Maybe a pound. Right. I don't know.
So how many are you on a day? I'm on about 3 or 4 packets of scampi scratchings a day now, man. But I can handle it. I'm just feeling a bit blocked up at the moment, that's all. Thanks, Shelby, if that is indeed your name. 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nicka@lbc.co.uk. And if you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. And pretty please with sugar on top. Don't tell me what are in pork scratchings. I don't want to know.
On your radio, on Global Player, and
Play LBC.
leading Britain's conversation. This is LBC. is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with Nick Abbot.
Hello.
And I can't stand him.
Poor Hazard, he's been rebuffed. He said he would pitch in and help out while King Prince Charles was busy being, poorly. He was going to pitch in and help with all of that, all of the things that they do, like... I've got no idea. 0345 6060 973. Well, we wouldn't want to have a smiling and waving gap. Everybody needs to pitch in. West Devon, hello, Rose.
Going back to the whole woke thing.
Yes, doing the wokey-cokey.
Okie dokie.
It, isn't it? Do you know I have an absolute aversion to it, the whole...
Rose, we're on a bad line here because it cuts off the first part of everything you say, like you're speaking to us from a submarine. So we're going to call you back straight away, all right?
Yes, unusual. Okay.
Yeah, it is very, very unusual, but it happens to me a lot. Nothing works in this country, have you noticed? So we'll get her back almost immediately. First of all, let's have Winchester. Hello, Simon.
Nick. Now, I phoned you up originally to say something, but I've completely changed what I want to say.
Ah.
Well, it depends how much time you're going to give me.
Well, time is running out. Go ahead.
Well, look, I'll quickly say, I'm getting sick and tired of hearing constant callers ringing up shows all day long, giving ideas about how the Conservatives can get themselves out of this mess, joining up with Reform, etc., etc., etc. That party does not have a God-given right to rule this country.
No.
They've got it wrong, and it's time to go. End of.
But the reason that they cling on to that belief is because they have been told that their entire lives. That's the product of going to a school like Eton, is it imbues you with the sense that you were born to rule.
But I'm talking about numpty callers, numpty everyday callers that think that, we need to lurch further to the right.
That's the British malaise, because we doff our caps to anybody with a pompous accent.
Pompous politicians have been running this country for too long.
Pompous politicians have been running this country for too long. Correctamundo, smuggo.
Right. You are going to love this.
Right.
There is video footage to back it up.
Uh-oh.
Okay? Donald Trump has been ruthlessly booed at a Philadelphia sneaker con while hawking his new $399 Trump sneakers.
You're kidding.
No. A lot of emotion, commented Trump amid a sea of boos. Donald Trump announced his latest grift on Saturday, appearing at SneakerCon in Philadelphia. Oh, by the way, I did send a picture to your LBC Twitter. I don't know if you got it. In Philadelphia, to hawk his new gold Trump-branded sneakers at the price of $399. At least some in the crowd were not very receptive, to say the least. While on stage talking about his new sneakers, many in the audience quickly erupted into boos. There's a lot of emotion, Trump commented, his voice drowned out by the booing crowd. Thank you, Trump continued as the crowd continued to boo him ruthlessly. In addition to sneakers, Trump also announced the sale of his new fragrance, Victory 47. Donald Trump's scent has been the topic of a great deal of discussion in recent months, with a former Republican congressman claiming Trump smells like armpits, ketchup, a butt, and makeup all blended together.
Oh, the smell of it.
Disgusting.
Awful.
These trainers, even Mr. T wouldn't buy them. They are that bad.
I'm looking at a picture of them right now. They're in gold, of course, with a big T on the side and the American flag around the back. Wow. I mean, you'd have to be some kind of clown to be seen in public with a pair of those on. Good grief. They cost $399.
What?
For some plastic shoes. Wow. Made in China. Totally China. I bet they're made in China.
if that man wasn't so dangerous, it would be actually funny.
Actually funny, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, good work there, Simon. Excellent, excellent spotting. Thanks for that. 0345 6060 973. This is from Fox News. Trump spoke for roughly 10 minutes, appearing alongside a pair of gold custom Trump-branded sneakers that are now being sold in limited supply for $399 a pair. Limited to the three morons who would actually pay that kind of money to look like that. He said, a lot of emotion. There's a lot of emotion in this room. And the crowd said, yeah, that's the emotion that they were offering up. You know, I think that the tales of Trump taking over the world have been somewhat overstated. He's got to get through the election first, and there's at least 50% of the population who aren't that pleased with him or the Republican Party in America. At least 50%. I mean, I'm talking about women who might have an objection to him dictating what they do with their bodies. You know, nothing controversial that I want to bring up at this late stage, but yeah, I think that that's probably right. So let's not get carried away. Hope is not lost. West Devon. Hello, Rose.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Much better.
I charged it up a bit. That might help.
Okay.
Well, it's going back to this woke thing that I just find so annoying. And a few weeks ago, it came up again, as ever. And I thought, well, it's not a word, is it? It's a condemnatory noise. And
yes.
First, well, it's woke. Used. Well, it is. It's like PC. You know,
it's barking.
Don't bother thinking.
Yeah, it's barking. It's the way you said it is actually an indication of what it is. It's barking. Woke.
How clever. Yes, exactly. Yes. And it's used by the linguistically challenged, Nick.
Morons, you mean?
Yes. Morons. I got morons on my team.
Exactly. Spot on. Yeah.
Oh, God. And
Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, by the way, kids. If you haven't seen that film, you must see it straight away, if not sooner.
Well, that scene stayed with me. As I never knew why. Anyway, never mind. Those people with an aversion to thinking, just picked this out like a sweet out of a bag. Oh, we could use this and chuck at them. That's to stop people expressing views for fear. They want people to think. To fear looking soft by expressing certain views.
Yes.
And you see... Yeah, sorry. And you see, the thing is why this works, I think, it gets traction, is because of the British character, because we've had this inculcated into us over centuries, this obsession with being tough. And if we're not working all hours for peanuts, then we're wimps. And making a sort of... that whole flipping resilience thing, and making an
stiff upper lip.
Expression?
Yeah.
Stiff upper lip and virtue out of necessity. People. Oh, we're absolutely fine living in our hovels, and if you complain, if the person next door complains, don't be such a wimp.
It's the politics of envy. I've heard that so many times from those who haven't got 2 pence to rub together, because the money has been literally taken from them by those people who are already rich. But if you point that out to them, that's the politics of envy. That's socialism.
Yeah.
That is.
It's unbelievable.
It really is, yeah. And I think part of what you're describing, it also informs why it is considered to be not a very non-you. That's actually the wrong phrase. It's not nothing to do with upper class, but it's not the done thing to try at school, because intellect is to be frowned upon.
Yes. And that could be seen as soppy and woke, and this is how the whole psychologically how the whole setup keeps on endlessly going on with the problem of poverty, because aren't they lovely and resilient, and they we poor people are supposed to think that we're absolutely marvellous and noble. But there was another connection, Nick, that if I've got time, it suddenly reminded me of, because it's about being it's about being like...
Oh, wow, that was marvellous.
Well, Well, it wasn't marvellous for me.
I am sorry, but that was that was the most fun I think I've ever had in or outside of my clothes. Oh, I need to lie down and a cigarette. That was fantastic.
Well, clearly you haven't met me yet, have you?
Sorry,
anyway.
You were saying.
It's about being soft because you sort of sympathise with people and things like that. But then I thought about this soft, soppy thing, and I turned it round a bit because I thought, well, kids are like that. It's all, you see, it's childish, isn't it? Oh, well, you know, we've got to be terribly tough, which is all right in the playground. And it's what came to my mind is this book where I got the word soppy from, because I'm turning it all around now. Because when we were kids, my sister and I, we didn't want to be girly girls. And so anybody who was, or who was a bit, you know, who didn't climb things and rampage around all the time like we were, we sort of thought was soppy.
Yeah.
Because we could see how women were growing up, and you thought, my God, have I got to be that? I've got to be tripping for a bus in high heels and not being able to run. You know, that's what I've got to be, this sort of construct, not just an ordinary person.
Right.
So when I found this book about a girl called Jane, I don't know who wrote it, the big thing with lots of stories, and this poor child, the bane of her life were these pretty blonde curls, which she didn't like at all because, you know, she was not going to be a soppy girl, and she jolly well enjoyed herself and had a gang and everything.
Yeah.
And there was this other girl in the area called Melia, who was all, oh, you know, my pink frock and all this stuff. And so the other children...
This sounds like the sort of book that would get removed off a shelf and burnt these days.
Now, yes, we called her Soppy. And this was very good for me and my sister because we didn't want to be soppy. So we went around saying, oh, women are all soppy, but we're not, you know, this kind of thing. I'm making us sound absolutely ghastly, but one of my proudest moments is when we were playing trespassing in this field. We lived in the city.
You were
at the time,
playing
trespassing.
Is that what you just said? You were playing trespassing.
Well, we needed somewhere to play, so we went over there, sod it, you know, and our parents turned a blind eye. But the men used to chase us. And we scaled this wall to get back to our street, and this bloke said, she's like a spider, that one, and that was me. So I was very proud of that. But this girl, in this book, with you know, where the main character was Jane, there was this child called Amelia. So if you got something that she had, like, I don't know, something happened to you that was the same, and like one time she got chicken pox, and everybody dreaded getting chicken pox because the other kids would walk round their house and shout, you've gone Melia, because you didn't have to be anything like Melia, because then you'd be soppy, you see. So this is all rather fun, but it's kind of, you know, you'll think I've gone off my chump, but it's kind of related in a way, isn't it? It's just a rather fun version of, you know, not allowed to be.
Right, but, yes.
Well,
the expression of concern for others is apparently to be rebuffed. Yeah, that's that whole thing about woke. Yeah, and it's
that wasn't in the children. It wasn't that they weren't expressing concern for each other. It was just they didn't want to be seen as soppy. You know, which is a bit different. Yeah,
a little bit. Yeah, but I get what you're saying. Yes, and but people have just got to stop saying it because it's an instinctual reaction to anything that they don't like now. I mean, like taking care of the environment is woke. Recycling is woke. Parking well is woke. You know, giving your seat up to somebody who needs it is woke. Anything is woke outside of doing what you personally want for your own benefit at any moment is woke. And it's you've got to shake yourself out of it, people, because you're being hoodwinked,
manipulated,
you're being duped. Yes, exactly. Don't be an idiot. Just reject these people because they do not have your best interests at heart. Excellent work there, Rose, and stop that criminal behaviour because you won't grow up to be decent, honest, and pure.
Well, I haven't, have I?
Too late. Damn it. All right, thanks, Rose. 0345 6060 973. Nick Abbot, LBC.
This is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with Clive Bull.
No, not yet. I've got absolutely no idea. Do you have any idea?
I can't see the screen that you've just pressed.
No, we have absolutely no idea here. So we're going to contemplate that a while and, see how it works out. We're just flying by the seat of our pants here. Fortunately, we are wearing pants, because otherwise it would be traumatic. Aberdeen. Hello, Daniel.
Hi, Nick. How are you?
Good, thanks.
One of my school friends' granddad, he told me when I was young that politics is the finest sport in the world. Meaning it's pretty cruel and entertaining.
Yes.
Sorry, Nick. With regard to the Tories and their sort of record on the economy, it just gets worse and worse. I mean, these are supposed to be the party of the sort of responsible finances, low taxes, high growth, everything. Where did that go? What happened to that?
It just went out the window. I don't think that they are any of those things. They just have persuaded the British people that that's what they stand for, but they don't, obviously.
No, they're just out to further
their own interests,
opportunities, and their for their friends, and accept their sponsors.
Yeah,
it's just really nasty. I mean, it's like you were saying earlier. We are so much worse off than we were in 2010.
Yeah, there's no doubt.
Standard of living is way, way down.
You know, when
energy prices skyrocketed
through the roof. Yes. There's something going around on the internet. I don't know who's responsible for this, but it's in reference to Square One. You know, we want to stick with the plan.
We have a plan.
Plan, and we will stick with the plan unless or we'll have to go back to square one. And so this is not my own work, but it says square one. When we could swim in the sea, when we had dental care, we could afford our mortgages, we had no cost of living crisis, we had pay rises, we could protest, we had freedom of movement, we saw our doctors in person, we had libraries, we had frictionless trade with the EU, we could report a crime, there were no queues at the borders. Let's go back up to square one. Doesn't that sound great?
Well, we have the NHS and the welfare system thanks to Labour. The Tories want to dismantle all that.
Well, they're doing a very good job of it.
Exactly. Well, it's the amount of things that we've lost over the years. I mean, it's not like our council tax has gone down, but they're cutting services left, right and centre because they're being defunded.
Yes. So where's the money gone? Because we used to owe £1 trillion when the Tories took over. I think it was 1 trillion. Now it's 2.5. And they will say, of course, oh, well, that's COVID, that is. But no, it went from 1 under Labour to 2 trillion before COVID. COVID just added another 0.5. So it doubled in the first 10 years of Tory rule, our debt. And what did we get for the money? Where did it go?
It's a big contract. I mean, like in Aberdeen, the council issued hundreds of millions of pounds worth of bonds to build things like a massive complex for a massive arena for like artists coming along. And
for artists, did you say?
Yeah, like music, like groups and stuff.
Oh yeah.
But meanwhile, they're closing swimming pools and libraries.
Right.
So, what's that about?
I would assume that whoever's building the arena is not using the same pot of money as the council, who's no doubt responsible for the libraries and the swimming pools.
There's just one more thing, Nick.
Yeah.
On your Twitter, I saw that cat video that's generated by AI.
Oh.
It's getting freaky nowadays, isn't it?
I tell you what, this new thing what's it called again? Sonar or Somar?
Something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
They've just released a thing that can automatically make a video from you writing out a one-sentence description. And then the machine goes off and he thinks about it for about a billionth of a second, and then it comes back with what looks like real video. It's really alarming.
Well, if you look further down in that tweet, there's about 10 other responses with different videos.
That's right.
There's one that's like from the Wild West in the 1800s or something. It's just madness.
It is. How do they do that? Well, don't ask.
I think these things, they just scour the internet for, like, references.
Yeah.
And then they just spit out something. You sort of type in something at the prompt, and it'll spit you a video or something.
And this is day one, and it's almost indistinguishable from the real thing on day one. Yeah, I mean, we've just taken a launch into the unknown, and God, we won't know what's real and what isn't, what's real and what's Memorex. All right, thanks a lot, Daniel. Keep your eyes peeled. Not that it'll make any difference. What's this now? Etsy.com. What's Etsy? Oh. What's this now?
Trump shoes.
Oh, these are more Trump shoes.
These are ones made by other people.
Oh.
Not specifically
God.
Trump TM, but I've fallen down a rabbit hole because I think these are incredible.
They're trainers covered in pictures of Donald Trump.
Extraordinary,
Yeah, some of the pictures of him, it looks like he's blowing us a kiss.
We need them. I'd wear them every day.
Every day. Yeah. You'd wear them as earrings just so that people know that you're wearing them.
They're just so good.
They're just hideous. All right, thanks for that. Now I'm really feeling ill. So, what am I doing now with these brakes? Because I've got a lot of brakes, but the bumpers are Clyde Bull's bumpers,
Exciting.
and I don't want to be fondling Clyde Bull's bumpers.
No, you don't. I'll come through in a second.
Oh no! What, you're going to come in here?
I cannot. And let me see if I can do it from downstairs.
Right.
I will run down now.
Oh, okay. He's on it. He is. He's totally gripping it.
I'm gripping it.
He is gripping it. He is giving it 110% of his attention. Now, where is that? Or is it this one?
I am totally 100% on it.
Yeah, I should relabel that. It's just labelled on it, and I'm just going to have to remember what that means. He's 110% on it.
I am totally 100% on it.
Well, just 100%. He's not giving it all of his time, just 100%, that's all. We're just going to have to put up with that. Thanks a lot, Rishi Sunak. Let's see now. Who have we got? Chigwell. Leon.
Hello.
Yes, Leon.
Hi, Nick. How are you?
Great, mate.
Great. Yeah, I read something very interesting this week in a well-known satirical magazine, but I'll mention it, Private Eye, that the people now will have to pay to have their cataracts done. And not only that, but the staff are being offered sweeteners to recommend people whether they got it or not to go and see somebody.
What?
They have to have the operation. It's going to cost between $2,000 and $4,000. So that means there's no teeth, no eyes, and apparently you also have to get your ears fringed, and you have to pay now, whereas the nurse used to do it at the GP.
Yeah.
So we'll all be walking around like the three wise monkeys: hear no evil, see no evil, and speak no evil.
Right.
Which is which is basically how the electorate votes.
Well, yeah, exactly. A wise monkey, wouldn't that be good?
I can't comment on that.
He can't comment on that. That monkey can't comment on the existence of wise monkeys. No, never met one.
Where they're coming off that people can't even put food on the table, and they're going to, they're literally going to have to pay between £2,000 and £4,000. It was an absolute shock to me.
For a cataract operation,
Yes.
So they're not providing that on the NHS so that people can see.
Not anymore. Not anymore. Because when I went for my last eye test at a famous, well-known high street opticians, they said, "Oh, you might have to have later on. You might have to have cataracts." Now, I'm 69, and unbeknown to me, my mother had it at the age of 90. I'm certainly far from having a cataract operation, but what they're being offered is sweeteners to recommend people to go whether you need it or you don't.
Well, I am stunned.
I was as well when I read it and all. I thought, well, there you go. There's something else to look forward to. No.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens when we get there. But I don't know. I mean, what we seem to be doing is what the plan is, if indeed there is such a thing, rather than just muddling along from one catastrophe to the next, and just about trying to get by and manage the headlines from one day following another. What seems to be the plan is to defund the system as much as they possibly can, in order to push us in our desperation into paying for what we have essentially already paid for.
That's right.
Yeah.
We've all paid stamps and whatnot, and you just beggars belief, you just wonder where all the money's gone. Where is it all gone? And by the way, £1 trillion has got 12 notes.
Well, that sounds like way too many noughts for my liking. But yeah, £1 trillion. That's what they added to the debt before COVID. COVID.
I mean, Boris spaffed a lot up against the wall on his garden bridge and his airport.
No.
And his bicycles.
Both of those, all three of those things would have been positive additions to the capital city. The bridge would have been great. The airport is desperately needed to stop all of those planes flying over the whole of London. It's absolutely insane that our major airport is Heathrow and the planes have to fly over London to get to it. That's nuts.
They do. We do them every day.
So both of those ideas would have been brilliant, but neither of them actually had anything to do with Boris Johnson, apart from him hoving into view and harumphing and appending his name to them. As was his wont. Pah! Everything was a Boris something. Here, Leon, I've got to go, but thanks for that. 0345 6060 973. What's the word?
Mum?
Johannesburg. What is it?
I don't know.
No, I mean, what's the word on whether I can play an ad or not?
Sorted, go. Mum's the word, but yes. Press the button and I think it'll work.
All right, okay, I'll look forward to that. Wow, something actually working. Can you believe that?
No.
We found something that works in this country. I am stunned.
Nick Abbott on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
Everything is going extremely well.
Yes, the second time I've had to deploy the "everything is going extremely well" clip to cover up the fact that everything is going extremely badly. But pretend you didn't hear it, and we'll go straight to Manchester and speak to Raj. Raj.
Hi there, Nick. How are you doing? You okay?
Good, thanks.
Good. I just wanted to ask you something, because it's been playing on my mind for a little while, this one, Nick. You know, they said Boris Johnson got COVID, if you remember.
Yes, Boris Johnson got COVID,
obviously.
yeah. Mr. Blobby.
Yeah. Wait.
Yeah,
I remember, yeah. So, you know, I was thinking this, like, do you think that was actually true? Do you think he actually got COVID?
Why? What's your theory?
Right, okay, so do you know when these all these text messages and all that WhatsApp stuff was going on, and he was saying about people with their bodies lining up and all that sort of nonsense he was talking about? I wonder if his tone changed after he'd had COVID.
His tone?
He was really ill, wasn't he? He was in ICU, wasn't he? So I wonder whether he did, or whether it was just like didn't really happen.
Right, so you think his tone changed because he was suddenly aware of the seriousness of the situation?
No, I'm asking, did his tone change?
Yeah. Right. I don't know. I'd have to go back and listen to his tone before and after to come up with a conclusion.
I mean, more in the the committee that they had and all the talking that they'd done about it. You know, the text messages. Had his tone changed in his text messages? That's what I mean. Did it change when it was still going on?
Right. Well,
not when his tone physically changed. No, not that way. But actually, did it change?
Well, you're going to have to leave that with me, Raj, and I'll do some homework for you straight away.
You're not going to do any homework, are you?
No, I'm not going to do any homework at all. No, that's absolutely right. Yeah, but thanks for asking. Appreciate you asking. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thanks, Raj. Absolutely not going to do any homework. Texts and tweets and such. What's that? Is that a picture of somebody's home with all those bags of?
I know.
You're kidding! Wow, that's probably what cost $9.99. Was one of those?
Probably.
One of those. It's like a card that you put up in the pub, and it's got, well, by the looks of it, like 30 of those bags attached to it. That's probably what cost $9.99, not the individual bag of scampi fries. But somebody loves them so much, they bought an industrial-sized catering pack of them and they've hung it on their wall because, that makes it look nicer for decoration. Good grief. Let's see now. Texts and tweets and such. There's so many. Where do I even begin? Sam says, have you seen the documentary Soul Power? It's about the festival out in Zaire back in the 1970s. It was meant to coincide with the Muhammad Ali, George Foreman bout, which then got postponed. Lots of great acts like James Brown and B.B. King and Bill Withers and Etta James, to name a few. It's great, says Sam. Yes, I have seen that. It's on Sky Arts every now and again. It's very, very good. Greg says, do you think that Labour will bring back the size of wagon wheels? They used to be so big, they used to be too big. Sweets, it were grand when I were a lad. Sweets used to be enormous. I could not get to the end of a Mars bar. I don't think I ever once got to the end of a Mars bar. You get about halfway through and you're just like, ugh, I cannot eat any more of this. I'm going to save it for later. Ditto the wagon wheel. Yeah, things used to be absolutely enormous. And weirdly, kids weren't. Now, snacks are smaller and kids are bigger. Figure that one out. Tamworth, hello, Andy.
Hello, Nick. I thought I'd ring and cheer you up again.
Ah, what a delight.
How are you doing?
Great, mate.
Right. You're saying about AI?
Yeah.
Right. If you combine it with a quantum computer, it's even cleverer.
Oh, yes. What's a quantum computer?
Well, it's like an atomic computer. It's brilliant. Would you like to know what it can solve?
The life, the universe and everything?
Not quite. Anyway, right. The space junk's a problem in space.
Yes.
Well, I said, how do we solve that then? And it said, if you cover it in ionised water, the water accretes and forms ice, increases its mass and drag, and causes it to deorbit. I thought, is that a thing?
Orbit?
Deorbit, sorry.
Well, what does it then do when it deorbits?
Well, it burns up, doesn't it?
Well, I don't know. Does it?
Yeah, apparently so.
Well, what if it all doesn't burn up and we got hot gobbets of molten metal pouring down all over us?
No. It'll be fine.
Oh, well.
That's what AI said.
I feel much better. It'll be fine. Oh, well, you should have said.
Now, haven't you?
Yeah, HAPPY, now me. You betcha.
Groovy.
All right, thanks a lot, Andy. He's just trying to help. Chrissy says, regarding Tory schemes to influence voter demographics, ID processes to warp the election, we can play the Tories at their own game. We should do everything we can within the limits of the law to obstruct the over 65s from voting. For example, if you normally offer a lift to a polling station, schedule the pickup for 9:55 p.m. and turn up late. Or you could distract them with half-price salmon at the fish van or an ever-circling mobile library, says Chrissy. Wow, that does seem like a plan. Tooting. Hello, Jan.
Hi, Nick.
Hi, Jan. I am great, mate.
Yeah, you found it. Listen, Nick.
Yeah?
I've found out this thing. I can hardly believe it.
I'm stunned myself. Go ahead.
No, apparently this is a private university. I didn't know there were private universities in England, so they're not coming under government regulation. And apparently, this one is called University of Buckingham.
Yeah,
Buckingham are starting. Woke came up a bit earlier. Well, you were speaking about woke, but they're starting a master's and PhD degrees in woke. On I don't know what you think about that, but apparently. This university was founded by Margaret Thatcher.
Oh.
And I don't associate her with being for free speech and diverse speech, but the people who are setting it up now, they're starting. They've got already 100 people for an online course on the origins of the woke movement.
The woke movement. Now, is that...
Yeah,
hang on a minute. Are they looking into people who say they are woke or people who just yell the word woke at anybody they don't like the look of?
They're treating it as an act. But look, they're offering it as a PhD subject, so they're going to treat it analytically, dispassionately. This is what it says, to examine woke as like any other ideology. And so they want to be a leader in this private university.
Wokeology.
No, not in wokery, but they want to be renowned for being unorthodox and having academic freedom.
Right.
Like for instance, I didn't know that apparently Cambridge University is discriminating against privately educated students.
Yeah, if you believe that, then I have a genuine made-in-China Rolex watch I'd like to sell you. Yeah, Oxford and Cambridge, they discriminate against rich white people. Yeah, sure they do.
And white males and privately
absolutely.
educated.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
So this private...
That's why when you go to Oxford and Cambridge, all you ever see is rich white people cycling about the place.
In Cambridge, they used to be like that. Now they're taking more ethnic minorities and they want more diversity.
As in more than one?
No, apparently they're not. They said they're taking people from state schools.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, no, they are. They're taking more than, like, Cambridge
Jan, I read that article too, and I don't believe a word of it.
You don't?
No.
But what about this new university? What do you think of that one?
Well, with apologies to the Disney Corporation, that sounds like a Mickey Mouse degree to me.
Well, they got 100 people signed up for the online course.
I kind of doubt that too. Is it free? Does it actually cost any money? Because there's absolutely no way they can charge $9,000 for that.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I'm just. I don't know what to say. They want to attract people or get people who are uncomfortable in other universities and they're quite unorthodox.
Unorthodox, right? So they're against the wokerati.
Okie dokie.
Yeah.
It's weird, isn't it? I just find it that they'd make it into such an academic, but I guess they want to treat it like any ideology.
Yeah, that's just a ridiculous thing to say. It's not an ideology. It's just being concerned for the feelings of others, and the only people that even mention the word woke are those who are trying to make anything that is considered to be kind or generous or gentle or considerate into a bad thing. That's what they should be looking at. They should be looking at the mental state of the people who yell woke all the time.
But you know what, Nick? I'm gonna get a prospectus and see what it is they're doing. No, seriously, because they look like they're genuinely they want to have a course.
Yeah.
You know it's going to be nothing like mainstream university course as such.
No.
But it's being taught by academics from the mainstream universities who are going to this private one.
Yeah, well, it don't make no sense to me. Or you, apparently.
No, well, I don't know enough about woke. I don't know about the history of wokery, or woke.
There is no history of wokery. It's just being considerate of other people's feelings. That's all. For crying out loud, how come that's a bad thing now?
No, but. Well, I don't know.
I think you're too concerned about this, Jan. Just let it go. It don't make never mind one way or the other. If that's what people want to spend their money on, then they can go ahead. I couldn't care less.
People signed up for
it. So you say. Yes, so you say.
An online course.
Right, sure. To learn about wokery. All you have to do is read the Daily Mail on a regular basis and you'll know all about wokery and the causes of wokery. Thanks a lot, Jan. Keep your eyes peeled at all times. Promise me you'll do that. Message coming in from next door. University of Bucks actually charge more than £9,000 a year. What? More than? They are a private university. My ex-partner went there, says my glamorous assistant, full of insane rich people. Are they actually insane or insanely rich? Is that what you meant? Yes to both. Now you know. Huh. Over £9,000 a year to do the wokey-cokey.
Okie dokie.
Yeah, it's a big no from me. And furthermore...
No. This is LBC with Nick Abbott. Call 0345 6060 973. Tweet at LBC. Text 84850.
Come on, we're running late.
Some text and tweets. I'll try and squeeze some in before I get some more calls on. Adam says, Nick, nothing works in this country. The Tories have destroyed the economy and Skier has about as much charisma as a final eviction notice. I'm voting Deform UK, says Adam, who has just given up on life. Obi says, the fact that people are calling or texting in to tell you that they don't know what Labour stands for just shows that the Tories' propaganda campaign is working. Correct, Amundo. He says, people are just repeating what they read and hear. That's right. That is right. That is precisely what that is. Oh, well, it wouldn't be better under Labour, would it? Well, they just repeat what the Tories have said. Simon says, I'm kicking on now and I would like to reach Donald Trump's age. I have started eating a diet of cheeseburgers. Is this wise? Simon, anything that comes in a bucket, help yourself. And Alex texts, I agree with you that everything is bad, but it'd be much worse if Labour was in. Hull. Hello, Charles.
Oh, hi, Nick. Yeah, I've actually got my BTEC High National Diploma from Buckinghamshire College of Further Education, July 1994.
Wow. Were you surrounded by people doing the wokey-cokey?
I was surrounded by total nutters. I mean, and they thought I was the king nutter. I can't think why.
Right.
But I passed. It was 2 years. I mean, I could read. It was equivalent of a human being jumping the Grand National regarding mentally.
Well, you put that really well. What subject did you learn? English?
Oh, my God, so many. I mean, where do I start? Business organisation, environment, programme and design, information technology, business financial analysis, system analysis and design. I mean, do I have to go on?
No, you absolutely don't. But thanks for the offer. Well, he did ask. Thanks a lot, Charles. Appreciate it. Oh, here's the information about wagon wheels, by the way. In 2006, they were 41 grams. In 2022, they were 37 grams.
What?
And probably cost more. 10% smaller. You believe that? Darius says, knowing the age demographic of the Tories, it would make sense for them to call for a general election as soon as possible, if not sooner. Yeah, time's ticking on, you know. The longer you leave it, Titchy, the less likely you'll have anybody to vote for you at all. Stan says, to win any future election, all the Tories need to do is get Laura Trott to count all the votes. And on that same subject, Lee says, did you hear Laura Trott doing a Diane Abbott impression on the other Nick's show during the week? My granddad always says there are only three types of people in this world, those who can count and those who can't. Well, you should listen to your granddad. He certainly does sound like a person who knows a thing or three. Islington, hello, Joan.
Hello, Nick. How are you?
Good, thanks.
Oh, God, I was laughing so much tonight when you were talking about Trump and the sneakers, you know.
Oh, you should see them, Joan.
Oh, my God, the description of them, they sound vile.
Awful.
And the amount of money they're asking for as
Unbelievable.
well. But the thing is that, I mean, I think I'm the same age as him. He's 77. And we've got him and we've got Biden. I know this is talking American leaders, but Joe Biden definitely should retire because I don't think he's actually alive. when he's talking, his mouth moves, but he doesn't breathe while he's talking.
Yeah.
His voice seems to come out like from a voice box, and it's really creepy.
It's like he's made out of parchment. Is what it looks like to me.
Absolutely, and his eyes, there's something so weird about his eyes.
Well, they're screwed right up. I don't know if you can see out of those eyes, but we can't see in. No.
I don't think you can see. But Trump is something else. Yeah. He's a cross between a really businessman and a comedian. And how he became president, I'll never know.
With a little light sprinkling of fascistic tendencies to go in there, and an ego the size of a planet. Yeah,
that's right. And I mean, oh God, it's hard to know what to say, because the two of them, if he gets in Donald Trump, and we have Titchy Suicides getting in, what will we do? We'll be like up feces.
I'll be calling up Elon Musk to book a seat on one of his big rockets. Yeah, just blast me off into anywhere will do.
I mean, I feel as though what's happening is the politicians in this country, they've no charm or charisma or love for the country.
Yeah,
now.
that's
the actual wanting to do good for
the country. Yeah, they yell about patriotism, but they ain't no patriots.
Yeah. Well, what is Rishi Sunak? Married to a billionaire, and he's just a gambler. Let's bring it down.
Exactly.
To
yeah, that's exactly how he made his money, gambling.
He's been lucky. He's got on in life, but he hasn't got a clue. Your description of him is perfect, like a puppy with the big eyes and everything.
Yeah.
And when he talks, I have no respect for him. I don't listen to him talking at all. The minute I see him, I turn it over.
That nasally whine is quite easy to tune out, because he doesn't sound like any other human being.
Embarrassing to think that he runs this country.
I know.
He doesn't run the country. You know what's happening with this country now? The people that are actually living in this country are running it. Nobody is looking after our welfare. The police aren't doing their jobs.
Yeah.
The schools aren't doing their jobs.
Correct.
And we're not getting anything out of the national health now that we used to do. And I attend doctors and hospitals regularly, and that I get a wonderful service off them, and I don't know how they do it, because nothing is there for them.
They're decent, hard-working people. What a concept. It's almost revolutionary. Joan, I've got to go, but thanks for that. I'm just going to read some messages about golf, because that is a subject that came up earlier on. John says, I'm not quite sure who it was that first said that golf is a waste of a good walk, but I couldn't agree more. It sounds like Groucho Marx. If Groucho Marx didn't say that, then he should have done. A good walk wasted. George says, dead right, it's walking meditation, not to mention the quite frankly ridiculous leisure wear. Yes. Yeah. Donnie says, golf is an outdoor business meeting, it's not a sport. Darren says, golf is utterly pointless. Why build new houses on the greenbelt when we can build them on golf courses, and then everybody's happy? Yeah. The amount of space that is given over to that game. Kevin says, it could be said over the years in many ways we have generally followed what the Americans do, so by my calculations, the star of the UK Apprentice, Alan Sugar, should be our next Prime Minister. Don't give him any ideas, Kevin. I don't know how that one got in this parade of golf tweets. But finally, Alistair says, you're going to start a golf war with your comments. And look where that got Tony Blair.